Rises up, the shot, and it's good! It's good! Wisconsin has won!
Let's not miss, bitch.
Brusewitz to midcourt. Rust has it, lets it go!
What the hell am I doing here?
By Taylor, the 20 to the 15, cuts inside 10, 5, touchdown, Wisconsin.
Welcome back to another episode of the Badger Notes After Dark podcast, part of the Big Banter Sports Network. I am your host, Dylan Graff, co-founder of BadgerNotes.com. You can follow the podcast or follow on YouTube at Badger Notes After Dark, or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts. I am joined with me, as always, by Brandon Cooper, Jason Long, and Ryan Eilers. How are we doing here, fellas?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Full bound.
How are you doing, Dylan? I feel like no one ever asks you. How are you doing?
True, we don't.
I appreciate that. Sometimes I feel like I'm on an island. I'm doing all right. The Badgers, I missed opening day of Rifle, missed that time with my family, but the Badgers did reward my blind optimism, did bring home that 24-17 overtime win over Nebraska to extend their bowl eligibility streak to 22 years, which at this point, that was the first thing on the to-do list if you're the Wisconsin Badgers to salvage this season. So I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good right now. So is the basketball team. Coop, you got a couple thoughts on that one?
I do. First of all, I'm working on my chin structure. It's a work in progress, all right, fellas. But we're going
both, buddy. You and me both.
Yeah. It's mustache season. It was really eye-opening when I shaved today. Not gonna lie.
Coop and I have enough chins for the entire pod.
Yeah, we sure do. I got chins to go around, brother. I wish I had ACLs, dude. I'd be dishing them out like Oprah to NFL players. But hey, sometimes it's a wake-up call. Sometimes it's just November and you need a mustache, and it's Axe Week, baby. Why would I not have a mustache?
Might have stopped into a handlebar for this weekend.
Yeah. But just some quick hitters on the basketball game. Steven Crowell looked fucking awesome. If he plays like that, the Badgers can beat anybody.
A physical Steven Crowell is a huge difference maker for Wisconsin. He doesn't have enough touch around the rim to be somebody that can play a finesse game. Playing physical, he's a different player for sure.
Yeah, he looked awesome. Old Johnny Blackwell, dog.
He's the real deal, man.
Good. He is so good. And it's wild. Like, we kind of had in our DMs on Twitter, like Asijan's playing with like the scrubs right now. I get he's hurt, but still, Blackwell's earned it, man. He's played really well. So that stood out to me. And then I just had that Tyler Wall could have had probably 20 and 9 if he could make a fucking bunny.
That's every game. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just frustrating.
I think what makes
it well. He played really well when you just look at the whole game, but he missed so many easy shots.
You look at 2 years ago when they won share of the Big Ten championship, and Tyler Wall was scoring in the 92nd percentile around the rim, and so that's what has made this year and some change struggles around the rim so just hard to wrap your head around. Because you thought you had a guy who was just a dynamic finisher around the rim. He was absolutely money on the low block, and then for now 2 years, not just him but the entire team just cannot finish around the rim, and that is very frustrating. But yeah, Tyler Wall could have had a huge day yesterday.
Yeah. But
I think how this team shoots free throws too really dictates how they play basketball, how the game goes. Like, obviously they kind of controlled that game against Virginia, like from start to finish, but they were 7 for 8 from the free throw line. And every other game they've been like below 70%.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's going to be a big problem this year down the stretch if they can't shore that up. But that's my big thing. Every game that I've watched this year, all 5 at least. Well, 3 because 2 have been on the BTN Plus.
Yeah, fuck BTN Plus, dude.
But I mean, they've been shooting free throws at a pretty bad team rate up until this Virginia game. So I'm excited. I'm excited now for that team. People were writing them off, but we didn't write back.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, I mean, if you only give up 41 points, you're going to win a lot of games. I mean, you could play an NBA team. If they only score 41, you're probably going to win that game. Now, obviously, Virginia is far from that. But I wonder with Connor, though, like, it all seems fun in games right now. He's on Twitter being a great teammate, being a great person, like always hyping up the program. But it's like,
love to see that.
Yeah, that only goes so far, though. Like, at some point, like, basketball players have this innate ability to like turn into like me players, killers. Like they got to go out there and score. They want to play. They want to do that. So it's like I hope it. And I'm not questioning his genuineness, but I hope it's like genuine team support and not just like, okay, I'm gonna do this a couple games, but let me get back in and get some rhythm, and then and then when he doesn't, maybe starts to be kind of a culture problem. Just because he went from playing a lot of minutes to like just running with the back end, and it's kind of like I don't know how long that's gonna last.
And obviously he's likely still recovering from his back injury, but Kamari McGee has played a crucial role for this team for the last 2 games. He has played a significant role in just their defensive presence. He, Chucky, and John have been just dynamic as, defensive backcourt. And Kamari made several big plays. He didn't turn the ball over. He gave him a few points. Like Kamari McGee is running with this opportunity right now. And at a certain point, if they continue to play this way, like their best brand of ball that we've seen, the last 2 weeks here, at least since Kamari started getting a little bit of spin, like, maybe that opportunity for Connor is going to remain thin and for the time being.
And I know that he sat on the bench all game, but I thought he did look a little stiff, going up and down the court, which you could attribute to him sitting on his ass all game, but he did look stiff. So I don't doubt that he's still a little bit hurt. And I know that they say, every Twitter, every tweet, every message board is like saying that he can't defend anybody, and that's why he's not playing. But like, do you guys think there's something else? Do you just think it's injury? Do you think it's that he can't defend? Do you think it's both? Like, I don't know, where are you guys at on it? 'Cause I like him a lot. I wish he would play because he's a great scorer, but you
can hide a bad defender. That's always been. If you have one bad defender, you can hide that guy. To me, like, if he's hurt though, why did he play?
Yeah, you could say the same thing about Braylon.
Did he? I mean, he played 30 seconds in a
game. But Braylon needs one more touchdown to catch the biggest bet I've ever made in my life.
Well, to your point about hiding a defender, like you can hide a bad defender, but you can't hide a bad defender that got, as Dylan said a couple weeks ago, got folded like a lawn chair. It's hard to hide a bad defender with a sore back. Like, if they're 100% healthy, you can hide them away. But if you're already limited and you're got a nagging injury, like they're going to go at you every single play until like you lose confidence, and then eventually you're not only are you dealing with the physical toll of it, but now the kid's going to lose confidence being a young player, and that would probably set him back even more.
I think the Big Ten season is always a really long season for the Badgers too. Like every year, that final week and a half, it's like, God damn, I just can't wait to stop playing Big Ten teams. So I think it's a long year. I think
their non-conference schedule
is brutal.
That doesn't help either this year.
From the jump, they're like playing March level basketball like this. Yeah, to answer your question though, I largely do believe the defensive narrative. He was by any metric, he was a horrible defender a year ago, and obviously they didn't have the depth to pick and choose, but they do have better depth right now. And if he's not at 100%, I don't think for what he gives up defensively, he's not getting it back for you offensively. And so for that, I think until he can kind of work himself back, he's going to continue to sit behind Kamari and certainly John Blackwell.
The defense was awesome yesterday.
Yeah, they were strong in all their hedges. Their help was there. They rebounded so hard. That was really good team basketball.
Virginia missed quite a few open threes, but still, I thought the defense looked good.
Yeah, they only made 15 field goals all game.
Yeah,
that's not good.
They played for a while.
Fucking spark plug.
Yeah. My last thing about basketball that I thought was interesting was just the Gus Yalden stuff that's going around. Even Greg Gard was asked specifically, like, is Yalden going to redshirt? And he pretty much said, it's not in the plans right now, but you never know. So I thought that was interesting. Like, I'd love to see Gus Yalden on the court at some point this year. I think he'd be a good addition if he plays up to the hype that he's gotten preseason.
I
just want to see him hit a 3 and do a fucking doobie celebration
for the people.
Yeah, just for me. I don't care about the people.
For the pod, Gus. Do it for the pod.
That's right. Yeah, I need. That is exactly what I need.
We'll clip that and send it to him.
I will too. That's the thing.
That seems like a pretty fair breaking point here to break into Wisconsin picking up their 6th win on Saturday against Nebraska in overtime. Obviously, they got off to about as poor of a start as you could for a team that absolutely could not afford to start slowly. The defense was just getting eviscerated in the first half. If memory serves me, it was like 270 yards given up in the first half. And I don't know. I can tell you from where I was sitting, I was not feeling awfully confident. And, thankfully, obviously they believed in what they were doing and they were able to rally, score 17 unanswered points behind, Tanner Mordecai, Braylon Allen, both fighting through injuries. Showed a lot of heart on Saturday. I thought that was all really encouraging. But, Ryan, talk to me. I know you were at the game on Saturday. What are your thoughts walking away from that one? Obviously, that was a team with a lot going on in the locker room, and they showed both coach and I think the fan base a little something on Saturday.
Yeah, the boys rallied and they played hard. I think the thing that I always try to struggle with is why does it take until you get punched in the mouth? Like I get the idea that like some fighters, some teams like, oh, we got to get hit in the mouth, get us warmed up. Why though? Like come out there. If you can play like that, I know it's easier said than done because the same thing with the basketball program is why can't you play defense like that every night? But obviously there's anomalies, but you look at it. Why do you set yourself up in a 14-0 hole? Like you did it against Indiana, you did it against Northwestern. Like I understand there's a personnel shortage, a scheme change, and all that stuff. It just seems that, and a lot of the people around me in my section were like, there was people leaving in the first quarter. Now I wasn't one of them, even though I thought about going, because after that 14-0, I said, well, my couch is a lot warmer, and these obnoxious Nebraska fans that definitely eat the corn the long way.
They're eating a lot of things.
They would not shut up, and it's just like, hey, haven't you learned after how many Scott Frost years, like, take it easy, wait for the second half, and Rule, like on schedule, got a little frosty for him and decided he was going to shit down his leg, and we won. Now, I think my biggest takeaway is it's kind of like one of those things, like as being a youth coach, I kind of see it a lot with kids where you're like, when they, like, whether it's a pass in flag football or in basketball, you're like, no. Okay. Whew. And that's when that play in overtime, where it's like we're going for it instead of settling for the 3. I'm like, no. Okay. And it's like I don't understand the call. Like sometimes you punt from the plus 30. Sometimes you won't kick a field goal, so you take a delay of game because you don't have a kicker on the roster to kick a field goal. And now when it's nut cutting time, you're gonna go for it with a banged up run. Like, hey, big old
I loved it.
Wheelbarrow nuts. I love the call.
Yeah.
Now, at the time, I was just like, wow, this guy's gonna get fired his first year in. My
Not
goodness,
gonna lie, I was probably riding the emotional roller coaster that everyone else was, but I didn't even consider kicking that field goal in my head. I was just like, we're going for it. We're punching it in. Like we're not.
I love the call.
We're not playing not to lose. We're playing to win. I loved it, but I'm a big dumb idiot. So I.
Well, if
I was thinking emotionally, not rationally.
Yeah, if you're 7-4, I get it. Like, what are you gonna do? 7-5, 6, or what would it be? 8-4, 7-5. Like, we need a bowl. Like, that was nut cutting. If the fact that you're 5 and 5,
6 and
you
5.
need one for the
We
bowl.
were 5-5, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
You needed one for the bowl, and like, all right, like
And they were
you
also
make a bowl game, and we can point right to that and say, hey, this aggressiveness, like, because us fans, sometimes it's short fanatic. We could look at that call. I mean, you can look at Indiana, Northwestern, all those other dumpster fires. But if you look at that call and you end up losing to Nebraska, and now you're fighting to get to 6-6 against another team that's fighting to get to 6-6, you just made your chances of winning the Axe and getting a bowl exponentially harder if Braylon doesn't get that yard.
But he did.
Thank God for it. I thought that Braylon really like showed a gutsy performance. You're not going to look at the box score and think that was an all-time Braylon Allen performance. 22 carries, 62 yards.
But it was.
But to me, it was. It was one where Luke Fickell said immediately following the game how proud he was of Braylon. He did not think he was going to play on Saturday, and basically told him going out there, like, you're going to have to come and tap us on the shoulder if you think you can be out there. And, he also talked about how much it means to the players when Braylon's out there, like how much more confidence he gives them. And, they came out with Jackson Aker at the beginning of the game, which I didn't think was a huge surprise. That was kind of the expectation, but it's after about the first 2 series that Braylon started getting going. And in the second half, he and Tanner Mordecai, just the tandem, showed so much heart and passion out there. They wanted it for everyone. And I love to see it. To me, this was a big performance for Braylon Allen and what was likely his last game at Camp Randall to, send the seniors out the right way.
I would like to apologize to Tanner Mordecai officially. He showed me a lot on Saturday, man.
Yeah, maybe it's recency bias, but this is one of the only games that I feel like this year where it's like our guys who are supposed to be our guys, like the stars, the studs, Tanner Mordecai, Braylon Allen, Will Pauling, on what seemed like every third down, like they made plays when they needed to make plays, and
it wasn't pretty.
That's something that I bitched about this entire year on podcasts. It's like we don't win ever one-on-one situations.
Yeah,
and every time Tanner Mordecai dropped back to pass, if someone wasn't there, he was scrambling for positive yards. I mean, Braylon Allen was stuffed, not really stuffed, but like they needed 3 yards. The entire offensive line rugby scrum pushes them into the end zone to win the game. That's something that we just haven't. Like last week, it was give a shit factor. Who cares? Who wants to be here? And I think this week it was like the key phrase is flat. Like we saw flashes of what we wanted to happen all year. Like it wasn't always pretty, like you said, Coop, but like we saw flashes of shit that we were like, this is who we expected to see on offense and defense. And I think we need to give. I mean, I know like the first halves of these last few games have sucked, but we need to give Tressel flowers because he might make the best adjustments of any defensive coach in the second half, because the Badgers, like their second half defense, the last 3 games, and even the entire game against Ohio State has been incredible. Like they're not even giving up 50 yards to teams in the last 3 games.
Well, like, what are you doing during game week?
That's the problem. That's very frustrating.
Doing the first 8 minutes of the game. That's where I'm
6 degrees of separation here, fellas. Like,
yeah. I mean, that part sucks.
It definitely leaves you, uneven about how you feel, because I feel the same way as you, Jay. Like I'm so impressed with the adjustments he makes. Like there's no denying it. But like beginning of games, we are just getting absolutely shredded at every level, and like the middle of the field is just over and over and over.
The problem all year.
Lynch here, like.
I also think he has the biggest uphill battle to climb than any other coach has had this year. Like
for sure. Like
Phil Longo and Luke Fickell. Like
Jim Harbaugh?
No, I mean for the Badgers. I don't give a shit about that cheater. Like Phil Longo went and got a bunch of skill guys. Like Fickell is the overall coach who's been tweeting out all this stuff. Like Tressel didn't. I mean, he got Jason Matry. He got the DN, a couple D linemen or whatever.
Darian
but like
Garner,
didn't
make an impact.
He didn't get a big splash player to come in and transfer. So he's playing a new scheme with all the and he's replacing Jim Leonard, who's like arguably the most beloved Badger player and coach in the last 30, 40 years ever. So I mean, he has such an uphill battle to climb, and I think he deserves his flowers for how good this defense has been at times. If you can put the asterisk, this is a good defense asterisk in the second half of games.
Yeah, like you said, at times. But no, what Mordecai did was awesome. His stats aren't going to look great or anything, not going to pop off the page. But if you watch the game, it's like, he fucking meant everything he said.
Yep.
And I was calling him a fucking pussy, basically, and soft after that little comment he made about garbage time touchdowns.
Garbage time.
Which is still true. I'd put that dude in a fucking blender if I interviewed him. But hey, he showed me something this week, so I got to give props where props is due. Glad Braylon Allen could add 2 more touchdowns to that season total. Like I said, 1 more, buddy. You can do it. I know you can. But it was just nice to see. It was something different. The only thing that really pissed me off is Nebraska making that field goal to go to overtime. Because I would have hit Nebraska +7 and I would have literally went like fucking 5-1 on my bets if they missed that fucking field goal. But no.
Yeah,
Matt Rule's got to fucking Matt Rule me. Yeah. What do you do?
I did tell you guys that over was looking pretty good, and I did take the over. I took Nebraska +7, and I took the over. So I pushed.
Did you see the
over because of overtime?
Did you see the over under for their game this week against Iowa?
Hold on 1 second, because
26, brother. I got the under.
That's terrible.
Dude, Nebraska's defense is statistically better than Iowa. Nebraska's defense is better than Iowa.
Iowa lost to Minnesota. Who can't score right now.
This is the most this weekend will be the most Big Ten shit you've ever seen.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah,
be a dog to like these football games.
How can you not be romantic about football?
Well, I'm glad we play at 2:30 because we got Michigan, Ohio State at 11, fellas.
So you can
that's
watch
game of the year potential.
That's the game. Yeah, that's gonna be a great game.
I'm glad. I think it's Indiana Purdue plays at 11. Fucking suckers.
Well, I'll probably watch that instead of Michigan, Ohio State.
But before we get off of the Wisconsin Nebraska game, I just want to say that I thought the offensive line, who I've been critical of throughout the year, I have to give them credit because this was statistically the game that Tanner Mordecai held the ball the longest. He was in the pocket a very long time, perhaps far too long even at times this weekend, and they held their own. They, there were some short yardage situations where they went out and they moved the pile. I have to give them credit. I thought that they showed up in a game where they absolutely had to, and that hasn't been the case. Obviously, Jack Nelson early, but
Jack Nelson's still gonna Jack Nelson, brother.
He got it out of the way early, and I appreciate that.
But did you notice how they finally got some help though? That was one thing I noticed right away because where my section was, they were kind of down there when they were doing their goal line stuff. Why have we not seen more 2 tight ends? Like, I understand you want to run like trips one side, 3x1, 11 personnel. At the end of the day, like, you use the utensils that you have to create the dish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you got 2 tight ends that are they're linemen that can catch. Well, so can Rucci, but I guess both of them at this point, they got the same amount of touchdowns. But at the end of the day, it's like when you put Rucci and Ashcraft or Rucci and whoever else was out there as a tight end, insert other guy, they were creating an edge, which helped like sustain that pocket so Tanner could climb it. And it's like, I feel like, it's easy to play, Tuesday morning quarterback, Tuesday night quarterback, or coach, but why did we not see more 2 tight end looks just from a protection standpoint? Because like you said, they were moving piles. He had plenty of time to throw. He was back there for quite a while sometimes, not necessarily being pressured. Why didn't we see more of that all year? Like, why does it have to be game 11, brother?
Because we had a second-round NFL prospect at left tackle when the season started.
I think, honestly, the answer is that Ashcraft, for all the things he does well as a receiver, has not proven that they've put him in position a few times to make chip blocks or like really important spots, and he hasn't been able to execute. And then JT Seagreaves, who saw some spin early in the year, was also unable, and Nowakowski was out during that time. And so I don't think they had until now 2 guys that they even felt like they could trust to go out and execute. And it's just a really decimated room. But I think that you're seeing what 2 guys who can simply just go out and do what's expected of them and nothing more, how big of a difference that's made. I agree. Tight end is a position they have to improve at this offseason.
Dude, give me a pair of shoulder pads and let me run 5-yard routes. I'll play tight end. I'll trip a couple fellas, dude.
I'd give anything to watch you play tight end.
I
know you got the soft hands.
Bro, I got soft hands. My 5 to 10 yard route tree is crazy, dog. I'm in my bag.
Winter snow football this year.
Dude, catch me at the Turkey Bowl with like 3 receptions for 36 yards and a touchdown.
If that mustache is there, I gotta watch.
Right?
Your release package is nasty. I've seen it myself. Somewhere between Keenan Allen, a little bit of Tay. I don't know.
Yeah. I got it all, brother.
You'll find a captain like Jordy. He does it all.
Catch me on the basketball court, you about to get Chris Kaman, dude.
That's
my footwork and my mid-range jumpers.
Hey, they're gonna write shaggy hair Chris Kaman or buzz cut Chris
Kaman? Both. Dylan knows.
Fellas, before we turn officially to Axe Week, gotta ask, you got one to give. Coop, who's your game ball from the win over Nebraska?
I'm going Braylon mainly because I'm selfish and he got me 2 more touchdowns. But no, he seriously though, his stats don't look great, but he fought hard, fought through injury, and really showed everyone else on the team this is what it means to buy in. So to me, it'd be him or Tanner.
Jay?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Will Pauling just because he had 8 catches for 79 yards, and it's wild to me that I think it was like he needs 5 catches or something like that. Maybe it's a little more to tie or set the single season record for receptions. Like Will Pauling has been the unsung hero of the receivers room. He's been everything and more that this team's needed from like a slot receiver perspective. Dude is going to have an incredible career, and this is just another. Hopefully that ankle wasn't, he got rolled up on. Hopefully that doesn't nag him. I'm going to give it to Will Pauling.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of
Love
sense.
it.
I mean, let's say this guy builds on this year and puts up another, potentially monster year if they get the pieces they need for next year. He could be going league. I mean, in a perfect world, we got him for 2 more seasons. But I mean, I would agree. He's definitely he's been a dude, and he's helped fortify a room that's more recently been kind of riddled with injuries. So
he's a hell of a player.
Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, you both selected. I was going to go Braylon, and then Coop went Braylon, and then Jay took my dog of the week, Will Pauling. So I'm going to circle back to Tanner. I mean, what are we, 4 weeks removed from hand surgery? Has got to be like the weakest little pad. Like, brother thinks that pad's going to do something, but the fact that he's out there with whatever that thing is on his hand, as if it's some kind of protection, just absolute monster nuts on that guy for going out there battling injury. And like, I think sometimes we as fans forget because of the transfer portal, like this guy has every reason. I mean, obviously he's playing for the NFL, so he needs more statistical output, but to go out there injured to battle for the motion W, like this guy's a Texas kid. He's an SMU Oklahoma guy. Like he's been here not even 1 calendar year, and the heart and the passion that he showed alone for being a guy that's not necessarily grown up in the system, grown up in the culture, grown up in the Madison area for multiple years. My game ball is to him for showing more passion than some of the guys that may or may not have resided inside the state for their high school prep careers.
Yeah, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves too much, but like, I think if like the Badgers win the Axe and then go to a bowl game and win that game, I think not by any means like you can say the season was turned around. It's still only an 8-win season, but like I think that moment last week and then him playing in this game, like that's what you can turn to and say like that changed the entire trajectory for the rest of the season. Was him, we're gonna find out who gives a shit. We're gonna see who wants to be here, all that, and then that effort that he put forth. So I think that's a great one, Ryan.
You get to 8 wins, I'm calling it a success.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
That's a success.
And I love
an ugly success.
I love that we can sit here and finally have, a couple of all of those are viable and wonderful options. Like we had a week where people responded, people bought in, people wanted it. They knew what was on the line and who they were winning, like who they had to win for. So I thought it was huge. I'm, just for the sake of it, I'm giving my game ball to Coach Fickle. He, at the end of the day, you asked people, you wanted them to buy in, and you put the ball in their hands. You believed in them, knowing full well what it meant if they didn't get it for you. They came through. That was everyone, working for the guy next to them. That was everything I wanted to see. They rewarded our blind faith in them, and it was just a poetic ending. Happy to have it, but
yeah, I just want to say, like, my last thing too is like, I feel like watching that game, and obviously the hindsight of us winning that game, like I had a lot of fun watching that game. It was so much more fun as a fan watching a team that's flying around. I thought the defense looked incredible, like I said, in the second half. But it was so fun, like seeing a team play up to like the potential that we've been expecting all year. And it was just nice to see them win one. Like football's so much more fun when the team's winning.
Winning is fun.
Sure is.
Like you always say, Dylan, how can you not be romantic about football?
Yeah, it brings you back so fast. It's taken us to lows where we've sat here and questioned everything, between 10 and 14 days ago, and then here we are, and like just beaming with optimism. Yeah, just
Bro, I was ready to be put on suicide watch 2 weeks
You
ago.
were on it. I don't think you were.
had it in
You were fully on it.
but
I had the 9-1 already typed.
Your maintenance was doing your wellness checks. It wasn't just to check your lights.
I want to make sure I'm alive, dude.
we do have one more, opportunity this year to, go out on an extra high note in a season where we have been just riddled with little disappointments. We're starting to climb back up with a couple of wins, and I don't think that there would be a bigger one for Luke Fickell and this Wisconsin Badgers team with everything they've been through than winning the season finale on the road in Minneapolis. We're taking on Minnesota this week. Battle for the axe. They've had it for the last 2 years. Just completely unacceptable by Wisconsin standards at this point. Luke Fickell and PJ Fleck, I love the fact that there's a little bit of smoke, that there's some bad blood there. I think that adds a little bit of extra something to what we got going on. I'm here for it. And on top of it, if we were to beat Minnesota this weekend, that would potentially keep them from becoming bowl eligible. Whether or not they get one at 5-7 is on them. PJ Fleck probably makes a ring for something like that. But, it's a big one, and so Wisconsin will go on the road, take on the Gophers. They do enter the game as 2.5-point favorites. The over-under is currently set at 42 points. Coop, where's your head at going into this weekend against the Gophers?
I'm shocked we're 2.5-point favorites on the road. Not gonna lie to you. I like the under. Minnesota's got a really good defense. I actually love the under at 42. I'm surprised that's that high. I can't get this right for the life of me, so give me the Badgers -2.5. Fuck it. Hopefully we win by a field goal. The money line, I don't want to touch. When Braylon Allen player props come out, we're emptying clips, baby. I'm telling you right now. Braylon Allen over 0.5 touchdowns, we're emptying clips. We need this so bad.
Jay, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, we're 2.5-point favorites because Minnesota hasn't won since October, so that could be why. In the last 2 weeks, they haven't looked great. But I'm on Hedge Your Happiness watch. I'm with you. The under seems very solid. Like both of these teams scoring 20 points seems like absurd.
Yeah, I'll be betting that when we get off the pod.
Yeah, but I'm on Hedge Your Happiness watch. I think I'm on Minnesota +2.5. And I'm gonna, not be happy about it either way, probably. So I think the Badgers will win. But if I say that, I'm not saying that the Badgers will win. But if I say the Badgers will win, the Badgers will lose. So I'm saying Minnesota.
Love where your head's at.
You know.
Ryan?
Yeah, well, that's smart, Jay, but I'm too dumb to know which way I'm supposed to go without messing
Bunch
stuff
of big
up.
dumb idiots.
I'm a big dumb dipshit, and I'm gonna roll with what I saw last week and know that after the boys got those juices out, if they were playing anyone else other than Minnesota, I could see not a letdown, because when you're 6-5, there's not much to let down anymore. But I could see a letdown. But when they're playing Minnesota with 42 as your over under and 2.5 on the road, I'm gonna take the Badgers and the under, because I could see it like you said, like a 20-17 game. I could see a Vacos field goal, 40 yards in the wind, little flurries for the bucket and the axe. My question would be, I wonder what all the NIL stuff can pay for, because I am willing and able to chip in hundreds of dollars to the NIL to help pay a fine if Luke Fickell choke slams that fucking weirdo at midfield. If he does the handshake and it says anything slick, if he picks him up by his throat and choke slams him, I will contribute hundreds of dollars to whatever fine he has to pay.
But he's got to do it like Kane from WWE back in the day, where you grab him by the throat and slow motion, throw the guy's arm over your shoulder. and then just fucking choke slam him.
I thought you were gonna offer like a pizza party to the team if they won. He's like, I hope he choke slams that motherfucker and dies.
I cannot
Put him through a table,
the
dude.
fact that this guy always says, "Oh, you know what's that dumb bullshit?" He says, "Family," like, "Oh, forget about me, suck on me," or whatever he says.
Row the boat, brother.
I think he says suck on me. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
but and then the idea that he had the axe in the bed with him and his wife, it's just like, you're a fucking weirdo. Like, someone needs to choke slam you into the other worlds, and I would love for it to be our guy.
Yeah, I first of all, if something like that was to happen, I want you to know that you're not funding that alone. I would happily partake in that if I could, watch Coach Fick throw that egotistical douchebag into the 10 feet under the ground. That would work for me as well.
Maybe even 6 feet, Coop.
Oh.
But
6 feet under.
I've got to take. I'm with Ryan. I liked what I saw this last weekend. They showed a lot of heart, and I think that they know as a team now that you can focus on just the next thing in front of you, doing the next right thing. Right now, that's Minnesota, and that's something that when you're working in the offseason, this is what you are working to win. This game right now, I think I'm taking Wisconsin. -2.5. I do want in on the under. I think that this game is not going to have a lot of points. Minnesota's offense is not very good, quite frankly. Kalkmanis is not who they thought he was.
No.
Their running back, that's where Wisconsin might be getting lucky is, Minnesota found a star freshman running back, but he has been out since October. And, odds are he's not going to be playing this weekend. Without him, their running game has been very ho-hum. They have, they have a couple of receivers, playmakers, but I just don't see it for Minnesota offensively. And, Mike Tressel, to his credit, has made a lot of adjustments. As long as Wisconsin's offense can wake up, come out, early, get on the scoreboard, I think that Wisconsin finds a way to bring back the axe. I think it's been too long.
It's been a while.
So they got a banged up running back? Oh, sorry, I don't care. So do we. Suck it up, take your L, get chopped. We're chopping down those goalposts too. If they do that whole like, oh, we're not chopping goalpost thing, then we're taking skulls. You're chopping something. It's either going to be a goalpost figuratively, or it's going to be that little bald-headed, Mr. Clean-looking ass. Take his head clean off, or chokeslam. Either one. I'll help pay the fine.
But like Coop had said about Matt Castle, PJ Fleck looks like he played a huge role in the 2008 financial crisis, and
definitely did.
Cannot be forgiven for that.
Yeah, but he's also funded a lot of women going to college.
Me too, in a way.
Brother.
Okay, so heading into our what are we doing here moment of the week. Coop, I'm gonna give you a second to collect yourself. Ryan, gonna behind the back it to you right now. You got the floor. What do you got for us this week?
Well, what are we doing here? What am I doing here? I find myself on Twitter far more than I probably should be. And or X or whatever boomer thing.
It's Twitter. It's fucking Twitter.
It's Twitter until I'm done. I don't care if I'm.
It's literally Twitter.com still.
Yeah. So I'll call it Twitter until I'm old and crusty. Hey, speaking of old and crusty, Tom Oates, what are we doing here, bro? Like, I understand you used to be something 25, 30 years ago, back when somebody actually cared about you. But I know something about you from my 8 Mile movie.
Dude. Yeah, a little Slim Shady.
Yeah, I know something about you. I know how many Miller Lights you used to sit there and just pound back at babes and just think you were the king of the thing. Why are you just trying to take shots at the new guy? Like, you just come across as just this old curmudgeon. And it's like, when I first moved to Madison, I enjoyed reading your work. I thought it was awesome. I was like, wow, this is how I learn about being a Badger. Because when I moved here from Arizona, didn't know anything about the program. But then it's just like, I feel like with every single tweet, he undoes, whatever the proper word is. I'm sure he'll correct me. He's good at that. He spells people's names wrong too, even the head coach of the football team. Journalism degree, okay, apparently.
Goddamn right.
Yeah, I don't understand the shtick at this point. Like, Paul Christ fed you information. Like, that is clear at this point. You wanted Leonard. Like, that is clear at this point. You got to move on, bub. Like, you can't just sit there and you're I could care less about his resume, and I shouldn't care about another man's resume. But at the end of the day, like, I'm here to tell you, because you seem, I'm not saying you are, you seem like an old senile prick at this point. You're undoing an entire career's worth of work just being a sad old curmudgeon online. Like, what are we doing here, bub? Just say something nice or don't say anything at all. I know the internet's letting you be a tough guy, and maybe you're searching for likes and clicks, but I don't understand it, man. You're ruining a perfectly great career that you had covering the Badgers doing this curmudgeon act. What are we doing here?
Tom Oates is a fucking punk. I'll say it. His
mentions are worse than your guys' after a win or a loss. So I think he totally does it for the attention. I think he loves the interaction. He wants to say something that gets a rise out of people, and
he's an embarrassment.
He gets me every time.
Yeah, but it's like we're not 6 years old, bro. Like, why? Like, I understand he's doing that, and like maybe it's like, go hit some golf balls at Pin Seekers. Jay's got 4 extra spots on his membership.
I don't want him there. No,
but
I hit him with a 9-iron right across the fucking head.
But there's other things to do than sit here and nitpick time after time after time. It's like
time after time.
I don't get it. It's sad. It's old. It's getting cringy at this point, bro. Just what are we doing here?
Nah, fuck Tom Oates on my mama, dude. I'd spit in that guy's face. I know I look like shit right now with my mustache. That guy's knees look like fucking biscuits, I bet. Like, what are we doing here, bro? You're wrinkler than the sheets I changed 3 weeks ago, dog.
I just, my soapbox thing, I'll keep it short, is just in general life, man. Everyone has enough going on in their own life that I'll never be able to understand anyone who feels the need to hop on and spread any negativity. I don't got time for it. I guess to each their own. I got a lot of things I'm grateful for in this world, and I don't need to be spending my free time just trying to piss people off. I don't see
one of the things I'm grateful for is I have the free time to piss people off.
Coop's got time today.
I got so good. Some days I don't, but there's plenty of days I got time, brother. Today is one of them.
Coop, I know you have not possibly gone a week without having something that you need to address. So what are we doing here this week? Bring us home.
No, absolutely not. Well, before my what are we doing here of the week, we got a new segment, fellas. We're going to call it the Instagram caption of the week. Danny Stutzman from Oklahoma captioned a photo from him from the game. I literally tattooed this on me, put this on my tombstone. I'm like communion, that cracker with the juice. Dude, I couldn't have said it better myself. That's how I feel every time I step out that apartment door. Like, you know what? I'm that cracker with the juice. There's literally a guy at my work a couple months ago called me the blackest white guy he's ever met, and I've never been so honored in my life. He gave me the pass for the word, but I didn't take it. I want to put that out there. I did not take it because
don't say it with that mustache. They'll put
yeah, then I'm gonna be on a watch list. But my what are we doing here of the week? It's not my apartment. We'll just throw that out there. These 2 old fucking women at Quick Trip, dude, this weekend. So, it was Friday, I believe. And I got home from work, long week of work, just giving her. Just nose to the fucking grindstone, People, I'm built different, So long week. Get home, you know what I need? A nap. So I take a nice little fucking napski. I wake up I probably, took a nap about 5 p.m., woke up about 8:30. So some people will call that a sleep. I'll call that a nap. I'm like an Olympic athlete. I sleep in 4-hour intervals. But so I wake up at 8:30. The Quick Trip from away from my house is probably a half a mile. I enter the Quick Trip at 8:45 p.m. looking to purchase some alcohol for a nice Friday night. That's how I get down, So I got me a nice fresh, cold 18 rack of Miller High Lifes in my hand, and I hop in line. It's before 8. It's probably 8:48 and 36 seconds. It's before 8:50. Brother, I got these two women in front of me. I mean, they had to be in their 70s or 80s. I don't think I wanted to beat someone more with a bottle over their head in the last like 2 years than these two women. And that's including the people in my apartment who fucking complained on me. But I'm telling you what, dude, these two women had me going. They literally had 4 shopping carts between them.
At a Quick Trip?
At a Quick Trip, brother. At a fucking gas station.
Whoa, okay. Convenient.
And I'm standing in line like, dude, I got 10 minutes to check out this fucking alcohol. They had 4 shopping carts, and they both went up together at the same register, but paid separately. So I am fucking fuming at this point. And there's only one person behind the register, and it's this fucking bitch who always works there, and she sounds like one of the chipmunks. Like, it's just her natural voice. Oh, hey, how you doing? Welcome to Quick Trip. Bitch, shut the fuck up and scan my shit. And tell me UC3, because I need to scan this shit by 9 p.m. All right? What are we doing here? So, anywho, dude, they're going through the whole cart and everything. The lady doesn't have enough cash on her to pay for it. Yup. So she has to go back out to her car to get the cash. So the lady behind the register tells everyone else, we have to there's like 3 people behind me. Tells everyone else we have to fucking wait until this lady is done to go through the register. So by the time I get up there with my 18 rack, it's past 9 p.m. and I can't get any fucking beer. And I know this makes me sound like a real alcoholic, but I can't get any fucking beer. And I'm pissed because it's a Friday night and I just want to enjoy myself. I don't want to be fucking depressed. So anywho, I drive all the way from my apartment to fucking Token Creek, Wisconsin. Who shout out Token Creek.
Shout out.
They sell past 9 p.m. like some real ones. Get myself a nice 18 racker with our high lives, me and Marshawn, and then we come back home and have a good night, clean the apartment, get a little wasted. But I was just so pissed at these two fucking old ladies, and then I was more pissed at the person at Quick Trip. Like, dude, I know the deal. You see 3, I see 3, you see 3. What are we doing here? Get someone else up to the fucking register. And then, like I said, shout out Token Creek for staying open late. But Dylan, did you know this, Dylan? They don't sell it till midnight anymore.
I did not know that.
10 p.m., brother. I found that out the hard way when I got there at like 9:45. And the guy was like, you got 15 minutes. I was like, well, you don't know how to tell fucking time because it's not 11:45. And then he had to explain it to me like I was 5 years old that they only sell till 10 now.
God gives us.
Right, I know we're running long. Sorry.
Scoop, and it sounds like he was testing you on Friday.
He really was. But hey, I made it through.
Communion, dog.
Yeah,
You're like
and
communion.
then not still get served. It's not like you were like trying to rush in at 9:02. Like you literally were there to purchase at 8:48. Like there should be some grandfather statute of.
Like, what are we doing here? I'm on camera. Like, nah,
that's wild.
Just a fucking joke. But hey,
Quick Trip.
we made it through.
No shout.
We made it through.
Well, on the bright side, your Saturday was a little bit better than your Friday, and hopefully, this weekend we'll wrap up a little bit better than that one, and we'll be able to come back here next Monday, Tuesday, one of the days, sit down, chop it up, talk about a 7-5 football team, having the axe and everything that comes with it. I want to thank anyone who listened this far, episode 14. Appreciate having y'all. We'll catch you back here next week in Wisconsin.